Gonna go live in. What's up? We're back. Hey, how you doing? Gonna be a good conversation for us here today. Is a bodybuilding competition for you? Oh, we'll stick around and find out. Let's get it. How are you guys today? I'll give people a minute and then we'll get this cracking. We have a couple things to talk about. Kabir, what's up, my man? Hope you're healing up and doing well. Going to be talking about competing. It's not. And I'm glad you said that. And that's why I'm talking about it on this podcast today. Because I think it's become super popular to see all the influencers and all the people getting on stage doing shows. It's very trendy right now, isn't it? With bodybuilding prep. But yeah, it's not for everybody. Actually, before we get into this, because I have a couple things that I am prepared to share with you, I gotta say that my second prep has felt significantly easier. It's almost, I obviously know I'm early on, I'm like 15 weeks out. So I know the next few weeks is gonna, definitely get a little bit more fatiguing and whatnot. But I gotta say, man, the first few weeks of prep, I'm feeling pretty good, feeling pretty strong. It's exciting, but we got a huge road ahead of us. So just going to give people a minute to tune in and then we'll get this rocking and rolling. Do you guys have any guesses as to what I'm going to share on this topic? If you do, comment below. Alex, what's up? What's up? What's up? Cool. It's going to be a good chat, motherfuckers. Hey, let's get it. Who's excited? Drop a fire emoji in the comments if you're ready to learn, if you're ready to maybe gain some knowledge that you might not have had before you joined the damn thing. Gatorade Zero has been coming in clutch for me, by the way. I know it's got the sucralose. I know it's got some things in there that are not the best, but hey, man, it really satisfies the sweet tooth for me. Hormones, mood, energy, finances, sacrifice. You hit the nail on the head there, buddy. There's going to be some things that we're going to chat about. Possible body dysmorphia, binge eating post-show. Yes, there's a lot that we're going to unpack, and I'm going to cover that. Zach, what's up, my man? You guys ready? Drop a fire in the comments. Drop some emojis. Let's talk about it. Let's chat about it. Ready? Chris Earl, thank you for the like. Appreciate the follow. We're going to get this rolling in 3, 2. Let me make sure my music's off. And 3, 2, and 1.
Recording in progress.
Boom, we're back. What is going on, mother truckers? Welcome back to another episode of the Shift Your Mind, Change Your Life podcast. This is your boy, Coach Sal. We're back. It's been a little bit of a minute. I actually recorded an episode last week, but I had some difficulty with the audio, so wasn't able to upload that. It is what it is, but we're back here today, and you might see the title of this is Bodybuilding Prep For You. Should you get on stage? Is this something you should be considering? Maybe you've been training for a few years. You see it all over Instagram nowadays. Everybody's putting on the board shorts. Everybody's doing summer shredding. And now this is the conversation to be had with you guys. And maybe you're thinking about it. Should I do my first show? What does that look like? We're going to break that down here today. So yes, I have competed before. Yes, I am in the process of getting on stage again. I was going to say in the mix of it, but I don't know. That wasn't really the right way to go about it, was it? But we're here today to talk about this. Is this something you should be considering? Now, before I do that, just a quick story on what my first prep was like for me. It was exactly 16 weeks from when I called up my coach to when I actually got on stage for the first time, which is not a lot of time. Usually, most people have an off season. They take time to really build. They have a little bit of a primer phase before they just dive right in. My last prep, I literally dove right in. No off season, no primer, nothing. And I really didn't know what I was doing. Shout out to my first coach, Patty Lifts. If it wasn't for Patty Lifts, I don't know what I would have done, but I did place top 5 naturally in my first show, Summer Shredding Classic at Alpha Land in Houston, Texas. That was a really incredible experience. And they just had another event this past weekend. So super cool opportunity. And it was definitely a challenge for sure. Arguably, it was one of the more difficult things that I had done. What it looks like is, if you're here with me on the live stream, it's essentially like a graph, right? So as your food goes down, energy expenditure goes up. So essentially you're going to be moving more and you're going to be eating less. That's like, it's like a kind of supply and demand chain. If you think about it, food's low, energy expenditure high, and that's it. That's what it was. I was training 5 days a week. My cardio got pretty intense towards the end, and I was tracking my calories religiously. I didn't eat at restaurants, didn't have any drinks, didn't really go out much. Can be a pretty isolating lifestyle. And like before I got on this live stream to chat about this, there was a comment that said it's not for everybody. And I agree, because it's not, and it can be a little extreme. There's a lot of factors that we're going to dive in here today to chat about this topic. But I just wanted to quickly share a little bit about my experience with that. When I first started my fitness journey about 12 years ago, competing was not something that was on my mind. I didn't start lifting weights to become a bodybuilder or get into it. It was more of something that just naturally progressed. I'm originally an athlete. I was a former Division I baseball player. And then when I graduated, I was really trying to find myself, and I was in the gym, but it was sort of just kind of a placeholder of looking good for the sake of it. Being able to now compete and translate that into something that I get to work on every day has been very fulfilling and very rewarding for me, and I enjoy that. And that's what works well for me, because growing up with that athletic background, once I finished school, I didn't really know how to get that again. And it was a dark period in my life where it was challenging. I was like, I don't really understand who I am. It's a whole existential thing. We're not going to get too much into that. But what I'm saying is, when I graduated, this wasn't the plan for me originally. It naturally got there. So if you're considering this, it can be a path for you. We just have to make it make sense for you. And that's what we're going to be chatting about here today. So let's break it down. And it's funny because I actually had a couple new clients that joined the team this week. We got 2 guys that we're getting on stage here within the next year or so. Very excited for them to join the team as well and expand our coaching roster. And this process is essentially what I walk people through on our initial consult call. Is like, does this actually make sense for you? And there's a list of questions to answer, in my intake form and process with doing this, because it's not something that you could just kind of skate by and do. You have to be all fucking in. It's every single day. The training, the cardio, the posing, the sleep, the rest, the supplementation, like, it is a lot. It can be a lot. So if your job is something that is very stressful and you're traveling a lot, you don't really have a good environment, you don't really have a lot of support, you don't have a good foundation of training, it's probably not something you're going to do. And there's a couple points that I want to share with you on that. But it's just been exciting for me to really get into this game a bit more, and also help some first-time competitors get on stage as well. And that's what we're in the process of doing right now. And I'm just very thankful and blessed to do that. So, couple things. We got 4 points that I want to share with you guys here today. And if you are taking notes, we're going to want to write these down, take some time to reflect on this. Now, all the things that we're going to talk about today in this conversation is really going to help us gain some clarity. We're not looking to deal in any absolutes right now. We're not looking to make any very specific decisions towards this. What we're trying to do is just have a conversation, shed some light on some things, have a better awareness towards some of these things. That way you could take time to reflect, and you could take an opportunity to really sit down with this and maybe ask yourself these questions as well. Okay. So when it comes to you getting on stage for the first time, potentially doing a bodybuilding show, first question I would ask you is, are you doing it for the right reasons? That's number one. And I'll say that again. So if you're taking notes, write that down. If you're into bodybuilding, you're looking to get on stage for the first time, first question I would go and ask myself, are you doing it for the right reasons? Now, this is coming from me, have gone through this. And if I could go back and ask my younger self these questions, this is what I would say. Because I think when I first originally got into it, it was a little bit of like, I don't want to say completely off of fuck you energy, but it was along the lines of, I'm going to prove these people wrong. I'm going to show you what I'm made of. All right. Sit back and watch. And it was a little bit of a toxic place. I'll be honest. Like you go into the gym, you put the hoodie on, and you're just like, yo, I'm in there. I'm battling my demons. I'm doing my thing, right? I'm working, I'm grinding. That's cool, but it's only going to get you so far. And the reason why I say it's only going to get you so far is because energetically, it's not a fun place to be. It's just not. That will set you up for resentment, burnout, frustration, isolation. And that's why I'm sharing this with you. And that's why I feel called to share it with you, because in my eyes, it shouldn't be to prove your ex wrong. It shouldn't be to prove your haters that you're capable of doing this. It should be for you, for yourself, for your loved ones, your personal brand, your own legacy. Because if you're constantly operating off of fuck you energy, it leaves you in an empty world of pain that's not a lot of fun. Okay. Second question I would ask my younger self if I'm thinking about getting on stage for a bodybuilding show the first time is, do you have a good foundation set? And this is the thing, is like you should already have at least a solid 3 to 5 years of training under your belt. Truthfully, the habits need to be in place. If you haven't been consistently training hard, tracking your macros consistently, you don't have a quality environment and support. These are just like the bare minimum, right? If you don't have those in store, then get those in check before you register for a show, before you hire a coach, because a good coach is not somebody who's going to be trying to resolve this for you. They're going to assume that you have all the chips on deck. You already have all these things in place, myself included. I am not somebody that is going to resolve all of your family issues, because in the past, when I first started, I was trying to do that, and all it did was take away from the things we needed to be focused on to execute and actually get the results that we wanted. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm sharing this from an objective mindset of, this is what I've seen after doing this the last few years. Like I said, I started my fitness journey 12 years ago. I've been bodybuilding for the last 5 to 6 years. I've been coaching for the last 5 years. This has consumed my life. It's literally all I do. So I live and breathe this stuff. So when I'm thinking about this, this is what I would ask myself. Because think about it. If you are just kind of like half-assing your nutrition, you don't truly understand quality foods, macros, how to program, how to actually take your sets to failure, you're not doing really well with proper form and all of these things. It's just like there's too much learning that needs to happen when you have a specific timeline that needs to be achieved. And when you sign up for a show and you begin a prep, there's a very fine timeline for that. Right. So that's the thing. It needs to be in check, in line. Next point, number 3, how much are you willing to sacrifice? How much are you willing to sacrifice? Bodybuilding can be extreme, from weighing each meal, tracking your daily macros, making sure you're getting your supplementation in. There's a lot. There's many boxes to check every single day. It's likely that your social life will take a back seat. You won't have as much energy. You're going to spend a lot of time doing cardio. And if you haven't experienced a prep before, you don't really know what you're getting yourself into, do you? And I didn't. I thought I did until it actually happened. And I was like, oh, shit. Man, this is no joke. Right? Hence these questions here, because I truly believe that drastic results require drastic efforts to win. And I'd venture to say, if you're listening to this, you're a high achiever. You're somebody that is really looking to take things to the next level. Otherwise, you probably wouldn't be listening to this information. So don't lose sight of that. It's going to take massive amounts of discipline, motivation, consistency. And right now, you might not feel ready. And that's okay. It's okay. But you cannot expect to just have one foot in this and the other foot out and do really well. It's just not how it works. Like I said earlier, you have to be all in. It's called competing for a reason. There's going to be plenty of other guys or girls that day. They're going to be showing up that have been working just as hard, if not harder. Like, think about it. Depending on what type of show you do, let's say, obviously, if it's a natural show, this might not apply. But if it's one that's not tested, people are going to be taking shit. And it's like, how much are they taking at what dose, for how long. It's like you don't really know. All you can control is obviously yourself, but there's so many factors that need to go right. Right? It's like, are you in even the right division? Do you have good genetics? Genetics play a huge role. Have you gotten recent blood work? Are your hormones in check? Right? There's just so much that when you look at a picture on Instagram, you just are not aware of, and that's okay. And that's why we're here to talk about this. It's for that reason specifically that I'd like to give you guys a little bit of clarity on that. And the last point that I would say, arguably the most important one here, is going to be hiring a coach. Now, it's not a pitch for me. I'm just sharing my experience on this because I thought for a long time I was doing really well with my training, my nutrition, all of that, until I hired a coach. Once I hired my first fitness coach, bodybuilding coach, I was like, oh, I know fucking nothing. In a good way, though, because right now you might be listening to this and you don't know what you don't know. And that's okay. But if you're aware of that and then you're consciously making decisions that are not aiding you and moving forward, then it's likely you're not going to get anywhere, dude. Like, this is just the truth. If you look at any good athlete ever, Tom Brady, Kobe Bryant, Derek Jeter, the list goes on. They all had coaches. One of the best athletes of all time all have coaches. And there's a lot of conversations that I have. The minute it comes time for some of you guys to cross that bridge and invest in yourself, all of a sudden you don't have the money, you don't have the time. And I get it. It was scary for me too, because it can be scary to take that leap. It takes a bit of courage. But in my eyes, what's scarier is staying the same. In my eyes, what frightens me is thinking 5-10 years down the line and being the same person and potentially still struggling with the same things, or potentially still having the same goals in your brain, but not doing anything about them. Continuously talking about the things you want to do, but you've yet to achieve them. For me, that's really painful. That sucks. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to experience that. So if that's the case, what questions do I need to ask myself today that are going to help me change that? Because once I identify that, I can just reverse engineer it and the rest becomes easy. Then I could really dive into what I need to do every single day. It's going to help me move closer to that. And this is what it boils down to right now. I'm just coming at this from a objective lens of, hey, this is my life, my experience. This is what I've learned, and I'm passing it along to you, and you do with whatever you want with this information, because ultimately it's your decision when it comes down to this. But I just think it's been so trendy and popular right now, where I think there's people that are doing it that just are doing it to do it and check the box because maybe it looks cool and maybe they think the idea of it sounds great. But then a lot of them drop out. They don't even actually get there. They don't even complete the prep. And for me, like, obviously I didn't have the placing that I wanted at my last show, but at the same time, I finished it. I completed it, and I was proud of that. Definitely didn't want to take fourth place. I wanted to win the damn thing. But again, objectively looking at it, it was the first time I did it. I was natural. I had no off season. It was a really stacked class. I came in very conditioned. I was at like 4% body fat, but my hamstrings didn't really come out. I was lacking some size in the chest and the lats for sure. And I got a little wobbly on the back double bicep. So now I took that into consideration. I'm going to make sure that that's not an issue this time around. And that's it. Objectively being honest with yourself and taking responsibility is one of the surest ways to make progress in your life, regardless of if it's mentally, physically, emotionally, financially. It doesn't really matter. I truly do believe that. So to recap this episode here for you guys, is a bodybuilding competition for you? Is getting on stage and prepping for the first time something that you should consider for yourself? If I was to go back in time, these are the few questions that I would ask myself. Again, number one, are you doing it for the right reasons? Are you doing it out of fuck you energy, or are you doing it because you're genuinely excited and passionate about training? and living that lifestyle. Number two, do you have a good foundation set? If you don't have a proper understanding of nutrition, macros, what a good program looks like, how to execute and stay consistent on that, then throw competing out the window. It's not for you. Because, like I said earlier, a good coach is only going to highlight these things for you. You cannot expect them to fix that. Something to consider. Next point, number three, how much are you willing to sacrifice? Bodybuilding can be very extreme. The tons of cardio, weighing each meal, being low energy, tons of supplements. It's a lot, and it's likely your social life will take a back seat. But you have to be honest with yourself. If you're willing to embrace the suck and embody discipline and being consistent and truly doing everything that it takes to win, then maybe give it a shot. And then number four, lastly, hiring a coach. It's arguably the most important. Being able to learn from somebody that's already been there, that has made those mistakes so you don't have to, is critical for you to get the results that you want. Because logically, when you think about it, you don't know what you don't know. So you could spend a lot of time and energy trying to do things on your own, only to spin your wheels. That doesn't guarantee you the result. Or you could directly learn from somebody that has exactly what you want, that could show you exactly what it takes to get there. And that's what I want to share with you guys. Those are my top 4 points. And if you're somebody who's considering doing this, that I would really sit down and ask yourself with. And if you're truly honest about these things, then you might have a better understanding. And if you'd like to continue the conversation, I'm happy to talk about it. You can shoot me a message. You can jump on a call, no strings attached. I just really want to help educate people on making a good decision. Because we chatted at the beginning of this that it's not for everybody. And I just don't want anybody to get hurt or do anything drastic or, do things that they just are not truly called to do, because that would be a waste of your time and energy. And all we have here in this life is our time and energy. So we want to protect that at all costs. So hope you guys got some value from this episode. Thank you for spending a couple minutes with me here today. If you got some value, shoot me a message and let me know. And I'll chat with you guys soon. Have the best day of your entire lives. Peace, love, and protein. Let's get it.
Recording stopped.
Yeah. Q&A? What you guys got? What do we got? What'd you guys think? Can't post comments on some of these. I just sung the McDonald's thing after I talked about bodybuilding. That's hilarious. What did you guys take away from this? Let me know in the motherfucking comments. I'm going to go ahead and draft this up, but I hope this was valuable for you guys, and appreciate it. And we'll do another one soon. Topic is yet to be announced. If you guys have certain topics that you'd like me to cover, let me know. Shoot me a message, and I'm happy to do that. And I'll chat with you guys soon. Have a great